Cool.
Okay, today we're here with Donna Barr, an interview for the 90s Mini Comics Oral History Project for the Sequential Artist Workshop in partnership with the University of Florida, the Samuel Proctor Oral History Project, the Billy Ireland Cartoon Library and Museum, and Spit and a Half. How are you doing today, Donna?
I'm doing pretty good. I've kind of been looking forward to this now that we're able to get some things done. Memorial Day is a wonderful, busy day for those of us who we're already in our little Comic Cons here. So I'm real happy to be, helpful on this project.
Awesome. Outstanding.
May I say real quickly is that I got the information originally from the project, but I thought, Jetta's going to be interviewing me for the podcast, her podcast, which you are perfectly welcome to promote.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, who better to do a good interview and have everything proper? So,
thank you.
That's what we're doing.
Thank you. The intro question is, please say your name, the date, and where you are recording from.
Okay, my name is Donna Barr. It is the 27th of May, 2024, and I am in Clallam Bay. I'm in the neighborhood called Slip Point on the Olympic Peninsula in Washington State.
All right. Some comics, what are some of the comics publications that you created or were a part of in the pre-internet era?
Oh, the pre-internet era. Well, I did the Desert Peach and Stinz. I did thousands of my own little private comic, call them comics, they're art and writing. That's all I call them drawn books because it's art and writing. And it's also a stealth marketing term because if you call them comic books or graphic bars, any of this stuff, if you use these words, the brains close. But if you say drawn books, immediately they think art and writing, and you've got them into a full-on conversation before they finally go, you're talking about comic books. It's too late. It's too late. The lawyer will then walk away from the Starbucks and go into the comic shops next door and buy stuff because drawn books it's what I call it. It just means art and writing.
Yeah.
The way it's done. And it is a stealth marketing term.
Outstanding. What are some of the locations you worked in from like your 80s or 90s era work?
What do you mean worked in?
Like studios? Did you work out of your house? Did you?
Oh, I worked out of my house, which has always been my studio.
Okay. So you never worked at an art studio or anything like that? It's all
No. I mean, I've taught classes. I've been part of bajillions of projects, all kinds of things. But I wasn't specifically employed. I'm an independent artist.
Okay. How would you describe your comics work?
Original, personal. People have said, well, are you worried about copyright infringement or AI or any of that? And people go, we know Donna's stuff and nobody else looks like it. And don't try to fool us.
Exactly.
It's original. I was sitting there in the Pacific Northwest woods, drawing pictures and writing stuff and put them together. And, it was like synchronicity and it happened all by itself. One of my publishers, Ed Vick, with Moo Press and Comics, he said that Donna kind of sat there and invented comics all by herself, which actually a lot of women do. They do a lot of writing, a lot of art all together. Like they have bajillions of those wonderful black sketchbooks.
Yeah.
Which the entertainment industry mistakes. They always think those are by serial killers. Like, no, it's women doing their own comics. That's what that's about.
Oh my God. Next, we're moving into.
I can say that's a demographic separation about who uses what for what, but I'm not going down there.
No, I hear that. We could go off on that for hours.
No, that's what the project will be editing for. I'm sure.
We're in the comics production section of questions. Tell me how you made your comics. What tools did you use?
Scrap paper, good quality Bristol, pens, markers, pencils, the traditional stuff originally. When the computers came along, I had a lot of fun to continue to just ink traditionally. And then I like to computer color because it was fun. And people who are technical look at it and say, well, that's obviously computer color. And he says, I'm using a computer. I want to look like a computer. And every single page was an experiment.
Mm-hmm.
And people says, well, why didn't you try to make them all look together? I said, because if I started again at the beginning, then you get another 64 pages that look different.
Yep.
You've seen my books. I experiment on every single page.
And it's just a fantastic process to watch. And I just enjoy your work so much.
Thank you. I've also found out that emotionally different pen points can do different emotions. It's
Yeah.
like if I use a crow quill, I all the characters, all the writing, everything is going to be aggressive. So when I want characters upset, I get that crow quill out.
And it's spectacular. Tell us how you readied your comics for print.
uh,
What was
well,
your process in getting them printed?
originally I just sent them off to Morgan Printing in North Dakota. I think everybody knows Morgan Printing. Yay! You send them the artwork. They sent you back proofs. Although I have a funny story about proofs. Uh, the normally with Morgan was absolutely gorgeous. They never made a mistake. They're, I was going through Aeon and Moo Press and whatever. At that point I was working for a comics company. I should say I worked for Fantagraphics. I worked for various companies, but they were always my comics working originally. Okay. Gotcha. So anyway, we sent this off, but one time, Ed, good old Ed, I love Ed. He's a great guy, one of the great publishers of comics. We were on a deadline, vicious deadline, and we thought, no problem. I had done a cover in which there was an attempted rape in the military. And it is a brutal cover. It is terrifying, and it is not meant for children. And obviously, kids are gonna, if they see it. Mm-hmm. But we sent it out, and we didn't ask for a proof because we figured they'll do it right. Well, the thing comes back, and there's no logo on the front. There's no title. It's just the picture.
Yeah.
So we're going. And at this point, we're standing at San Diego with the boxes, which we have just opened.
No.
And the rest of them have gone to all the places they were supposed to go.
Oh, no.
And we see the first fan coming toward us, and I'm going, I am so screwed. And they're coming right toward us, and Ed's sitting there, and he's not saying a word. And this person walks up to me and goes, actually, he's talking to Ed. And he goes, this is amazing. You just took a chance. You knew everybody would recognize this. You just did this, just the picture, and everybody would know this was the Desert Peach. This is an amazing experiment. And Ed, this is Ed. Yeah, it was a bit of a gamble, but I let her do it. And so I think it came out okay. And the guy's like,
well played. Well played.
Ooh, yeah, well played. Ooh. Ed is from Texas, the part of the Texas population that takes cotillion. Not the QAnon gang, okay. And I will say another thing about that cover. I was down for oh God, what is the Comic Con that took place in San Jose? Anyway, they had a little Comic Con down there, and my brain doesn't remember after thousands of miles of. I probably logged more miles on airplanes than Dan, my husband, logged in Vietnam on helicopters. But I'm down at San Jose, and we had an open bar that particular year up on the second little step up floor. And so we all had a drink, which really just meant that nobody got the concrete that year. It's because alcohol kills bacteria and viruses. Mm-hmm. So I'm sitting there, and I've got all my stuff out there, including that ghastly cover. Mm-hmm. And this little teeny thing in a pink dress walks by, and she's going like this down the comics, and she stops and looks at that, and her. Remember Winona Ryder in Dracula going at the sex book, right? At the oh God, I can't remember what it was, but anyway, she just finally went, oh okay, didn't get it all. Walked on. Her dad is right behind her, and I said, God, I'm sorry, but it is an adult show, and he says, oh, she doesn't know what that is. If she had,
yeah,
I'd have been calling somebody. But he was like, because she was had no idea what the people on that cover were doing. Which is the whole thing about I had once kids about 12 or 13 walk up. They're pretty young. Walk up to my table, and one of them said, we've heard that this is a really good book, Desert Peach. He said, would we like it? And I said, probably wouldn't, because it's full of stupid adult tricks, as I call them. And I don't mean a whole lot of sex and violence. There's some swearing, but there's an awful lot of, what are we going to pay the mortgage with? That kind of crap.
Yeah.
And I said, but, you're getting towards 16, 17, 18. You're starting to run into the adult situations. And very many times you will outgrow the art form.
Mhm.
And you come over here and this is all ready to go for you. You got a whole series and you can read it as an adult for the rest of your life. And you know what those kids did? Went on their
Oh
way.
yeah.
They're
That's
cool.
fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, I've always written for adults,
Yeah.
and most of the stuff just, they don't get the humor, they don't get the situations. Yeah, there's swearing in the books.
Hmm.
There's some sex, there's some violence, but that's what grown-ups do, and it's usually
Hmm.
stupid. I've just discovered the ancient Chinese novel, the Water Margin.
You told me about that
Yeah,
previously, and I'm happy
yeah,
that
and the thing was, I originally picked it up, had never heard of it. I found a book called I think it's the Water Bandits, and it's the transsexual version of the Water Margin, and
ooh,
where I learned everybody's names in there. So I'm listening to the Water Margin now, and this thing is it's gross, it's sweary, it's violent, it's flippin' hilarious.
it sounds
So I'm
perfect.
really I mean, well, anybody can make the Water Margin into anyone thing. Guardians of the Galaxy is the Water Margin. It's got all the
Mhm.
characters. Luda. Anyway, that's that. We'll get on to the next question, or I'll be here all day.
Okay, next question. How many did you print of your how big was your first run? How many
You'd
did
have to ask Ed. I don't know.
Okay.
I
Okay.
don't know. I don't know how many they printed, and I've never kept track. And later on, I was doing 1,000 copies off print on demand. Well,
Okay.
actually, 1,000 copies in a run, because print on demand has no print run. You get books when you need them. Your customer buys one, they show up at a show later on, you autograph it for them.
Yeah.
They can buy whatever number they want, resell them too, as far as I'm concerned. I don't care. I'll buy 10 or 20 for a show, or 2 for a little show, or just keep
Yeah.
them. I just don't have I don't need $20,000 for a print run anymore. People don't
Yeah.
realize how expensive that was,
Oh yeah.
and why nobody in the comics industry thinks the concept of anal cramps is funny. They start exchanging ways to stop the pain.
I get that. I get that. Did you notice how the numbers changed over time of how many were printed and
Only when I was printing
okay.
them, And I didn't pay that attention to numbers. I don't know how many people follow me on Facebook. I don't know how much money. I'm a dragon and a Leo. I just
Gotcha.
la-di-da through life like Luda,
I'm
and
creating. I don't have time to marry. It's the
I
same.
just
I get
I'm an
that.
artist, not an accountant. Although the terrifying thing is, give me an hour at the table at San Diego Comic Con, and I can do California state taxes in my head. But it takes an hour. It's like pulling up my German dictionary. It takes an hour to get back on that, which was funny. Once Fantagraphics shoved one of their German artists off on me and said, "Take the poor man out of here." He'd been stumbling over English the whole time. So we
Oh,
went out, and little by little, as we were walking around getting drinks, taking to lunch, my German was getting better and better and better and better. And by the time we got back, we were just yakking our heads off speaking German.
mhm.
And he was happy. He could make do with the pidgin English for the rest of the show. But at that point, unfortunately, my English dictionary had closed, and I couldn't come up with any more new English words for the rest of the day.
Yeah, when your brain shuts that off, you're just done.
Well, you can only have so many dictionaries open at a time, and my German dictionary takes an awful lot of RAM.
I would
When it's
imagine.
open,
Yeah.
I can't have the English dictionary open.
Mm.
So I'm stuck, and I'm sitting there going, and all I can think of is German words.
Oh.
So I've been studying German for I don't know how many decades. So it's a hilarious language.
Next section is noticing awareness. Tell me when you first saw evidence of people making their own comics.
Um, First Comic Con I ever went to. It
What you?
was some little Canadian show, I think.
Hmm.
I don't remember when. It was back in '86 or something
Okay.
like that. See, a lot of this stuff is decades ago.
Oh
And
yeah.
I'll tell you who's got the information on me and has got the records. And where this should probably go is the San Diego State University Love Library Special Collections Pop Culture Collection, which
Mm.
is this big climate controlled area. And I am always sending them new stuff, other people's books, other people's information, manuscripts, everything I got. And
Yeah.
they said at this point on their shelves, along with all my artwork that still is extant and hasn't got lost or stepped on in a flood. Yeah, thank you, Eclipse Comics. they would have that information there
Okay.
at Love Library. It is climate controlled, and I see that this is going to go to the Billy Ireland collection too,
Yeah.
which is, by the way, my alma mater.
Oh, nice.
I'm a graduate of Ohio State. I have a degree in German languages and literature
Fantastic.
with a sideline on beekeeping.
Well, you gotta have something that helps the planet.
Well, people are always yelling about you should also do you should do trades, not this, and it's like, go to Ohio State, you get to do it all.
Right.
With the sign there on the way out there to the agricultural area. Please do not cross the paddock. The ponies bite. So this
Next
is the college
question.
I went to.
Tell us a story of getting a comic that surprised or inspired you.
Well, not inspired. I get inspired by stupid crap I see. Certain little things will make me crack up. Nothing surprises me. Humans are too weird. But I have things like Pete Zickman's Garner's characters always go, no good can come of this. I love that. Stephen Notley's Bob the Angry Flower, he just kills me. He's funny as heck. Deanna Sasa. Now, this is the funny story. When I was a kid and I'm drawing German soldier centaurs, and my parents had gone through World War II, were like, what the hell's wrong with this kid? And I finally said, I'm going to find a girl someday who's doing this, and she'll be in Switzerland. And she was. Diana Kennedy, that's her name now. She was Deanna Sasa, and she's doing German soldier centaurs. And I'll tell you something that just killed me was, I use this explanation from then on. She had these weird little, like I draw, the same thing I was drawing, human front end, horse rear end, but they were wearing German uniforms. And I was going like, but how could they do that if they're wild animals? She says, well, we don't know. Greenpeace will not let us capture them. And I went, run with your own explanation.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, it's like my Bosom Enemy series. People say, what really happened? I said, I have no flipping idea. My characters don't know, and I don't know. If my characters don't know, I don't know. And they drink all my beer.
It's the worst.
Well, it's always gone.
There's a hole.
They're all Germans.
There's a hole in the mug. It's fine. Get another mug. You're fine. Another question. Did you ever read an issue of Fact Sheet 5 in the 80s or 90s?
I must have. I didn't read a lot of the magazines or anything like that. I did want to, if I could get my hands on them, yeah. I mean, I enjoyed Comics Journal, when I saw a copy of it. Of course, I love The Stranger too. So, and I did see copies of it back then. I know it existed, and I did see things in it, and I think I appeared in it, reviews and stuff.
Yeah. Did you ever order a comic or write to someone as a result of seeing it in Fact Sheet 5, SPCE, Comics FX, or any other analog aggregator or review zine?
The way I got comics was Swapsies. I had them. They had them. That's how we did it. The problem is I'm not in the fan world. I'm the creative world. We run on a different machine.
Yeah.
So it's like the fans have their parties and get-togethers, and I've been to those. I mean, I love the Hancock party at NorwestCon where they serve, like for whatever their RadCon or whatever it's called, and they serve toxic waste, which is this god-awful blue concoction. But I am one of the people who was an artist in the industry when Dark Horse decided to take a jacuzzi in a suite, fill it with ice, put all the beer in the world in it, and let the artist loose on it.
Aha.
We were so hammered.
Oh, I bet. Oh my God.
Oh my God.
It's one of those,
the Great Dark Horse Beer Party. I remember that one.
Yeah. Was this a time where there were video phones?
Nope. Nope. In fact, I'm real lucky there weren't video phones in the shit that happened.
Woo, I hear that.
It's like people are saying, the boomers are always going, you glad we didn't have phones.
Next question. Did you ever advertise in one or of the above, or was your work reviewed in it?
My work was reviewed, but I didn't advertise. I had word of mouth. I went to shows.
Okay.
People knew that stuff was out there. Actually, lately, every time I run into somebody, they go, "Ooh, the legend." Well, a legend is something that people talk about, and I'm beginning to think they're referring to my promotional abilities. Word of mouth, you're the legend. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's really what I did. I just happily did the work, got it out there, sold it, uh, didn't do a lot really about advertising. If people are doing reviews or whatever, well, it's like this. It's like, looky, here's, a project I can help out with and promote.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I'm www.donnabarr.com. And when you
Mm-hmm.
go there, you will see it's a blog with a lot of links. And I actually had a technical person, a web person, looked on it once and went, "You're using the entire internet as a website and not paying for it and getting advertising money." I went, "Yep,
Yep.
blogger."
Well done.
I always recommend blogger.
Next section is community. Tell a story of how you met your closest friend or peer in comics.
Oh, that would be Roberta Gregory. And as I recall, she wrote me a fan letter. Well, I mean, it sounded, it was kind of like, "Oh, senior comics, everything else." But I don't think it was so much a fan letter as from one comics person to another. And later on, she moved up to Seattle, and we ended up supporting each other in many, many, many ways. She let me, after I moved out of Seattle, she let me use her couch, which I'm, great friends with her couch and all her cats and everything. With her husband Bruce, as she refers to him, and they let me stay there, and we went to all the conventions and shared expenses. And the only time, there was one time we were on the phone and we were talking about Hawaii Con, and she said, "My parents went to Hawaii. All these people went to Hawaii." And I said, "We've never been to Hawaii." And she went, "Oh, that's just pitiful." And I went, "That's it." So we went to Hawaii Con and had a hell of a time.
Oh, nice.
Yep.
Nice. Second question. Tell us about the first show or con situation where there were other people doing what you did. So I guess other creators in the same
Oh,
kind.
that would be NorwestCon, I think.
Okay.
No, wait a minute. No. What the heck was it? I don't remember. Was it NorwestCon or that little Canadian show? I can't remember. It's a long time ago. A lot of shows. People are always saying, like, "You remember me?" And I'm like, "Oh,
When you meet a
I
lot
know
of
too many
people, it's
people."
hard to kind of
And
catalog.
it's decades, people. Well, it's like I say, everybody's got a Rolodex in their head, right? And the cards in the front, you can just dip in and get them. But when you got decades of Rolodex going back here, you're going to have to go back, and they may have fallen off the back, like the movie In and Out or whatever the heck it's called by Disney.
Mhm.
They may have fallen off the back, and you're going, "Who the heck are you?" My situation, however, is I got a strange voice, a god awful laugh, and they don't forget me because I'm weirdo.
Yay, weirdos. Weirdos for the win.
Weirdos for the win.
Tell us when you felt the most connected in the community or the least connected or both.
Well, once I was in the community, I was in the community.
Mhm.
I
Did
mean,
you ever
when
feel
you say,
disconnected from the community?
what's that?
Did you ever feel disconnected from the community at any point?
No, it's too big. It's worldwide. I mean, the moment the wall went down, they were writing reviews on Stinz in Czech,
Yeah.
which I can't read,
Yeah.
And I had some guy who owned a Japanese comic store comes in, and he's got this great big gorgeous reproduction leather pilot's jacket, and he wanted me to take a gold marker and draw all over it. And I'm going, "Yes, it's going to chew up the leather." He didn't care. He had the money. Crazy.
That's awesome.
I've had people want me to sign their butts and their tits and everything else. So and of course the Peach Pits, me and my idiot friends run. That wasn't me doing that. This guy named he's got a name that he if I used his original name, it'd be kind of like naming him because he but it's not gender, it's theatrical.
Understood.
And I'm never quite sure which one of his projects he's doing, but everybody in the industry knows who it was. He's the guy who really jump-started everything as far as the Peach Pits and the musical and all that went.
Oh, that's fantastic.
So yeah, I've never felt disconnected because Well, I'm easy to get along with. If you want to sit down with me for an evening, you buy me dinner and drinks,
Mm-hmm.
which
Real
is
simple.
that's kind of like how it works with all of us.
Oh
Feed
yeah.
the artist. Have you ever seen them eat?
Yeah, exactly.
Producers.
Who were or are your most significant peers in comics?
Well, there's Roberta. Um, Alan Moore is one of my fans. So is his wife. Wendy, I just discovered Wendy Peeney and I. Okay, she's over here in the comics industry,
Yeah.
and I'm over there in the comics industry, and it's too big.
Yeah.
We just never crossed paths, and our fandoms didn't really cross paths. Well, I imagine they did. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, I was on Facebook one day, and there she is. And I went, oh well, what the hell, friend. And ever since then, we've been cracking each other up because she has a screwy sense of humor, and she comes over and loves on my stuff, and so it turns out that we get along real well. Gary Groth from Fantagraphic Sign are great buddies.
Mm-hmm.
And he's trying to convince San Diego to give me a doctorate so that I can be Dr. Barr. Which reminds, I'm going to be at the Fantagraphics barbecue and mini con that Ed Vic and I have managed to cobble together a couple of tables. So we're going to
Oh, nice.
Means I get to deduct the trip.
That's always a plus.
Oh, and that's another thing. I might be bringing Clown Bay Comic Con back because the little Lions Club at one point was going, no, you can go off and do what you want and everything. But now they're going, please come back. And the town wants us back and everybody wants us back. So after the 13th, when we go down to Fun Days, I might just tell everybody, okay, fine, I'll bring the stupid Comic Con back because I'm the only person in the world can run a Comic Con with one staff member.
Oh, wow.
Although I'm kind of cheating. I'm using the entire internet as a staff.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Have you ever done a collaboration or a jam with either of them?
Let's see, who did I say?
Roberta and
Wendy Peeney, Roberta Gregory. I haven't done any with Wendy. I've done things with Roberta, and I've done things with lots of other artists too.
Okay.
I haven't done anything with Alan Moore. Again, well, you got to remember the kind of people I'm buddies with are the kind of people that are in their own little focused world, and they're not so much fanning out to do, the fan jam things and get together things. So we have a tendency to do our own little crap.
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of like friends with a lot of people in the industry, and when I mention people's names, it sounds like name dropping. But back when I started in comics, there's like 5 people in comics. So,
yeah.
When I talk about Bob, I mean Bob Crumb. I just happen to know him.
Mm-hmm.
Because we all knew each other. We all got on the same airplanes. We all cheaped out at the same hotels with the same bars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The question, how did they affect your own work? I guess the collaboration with Roberta, did that affect your own work at all?
Didn't affect hers either. Like I said, we are our own people. We're powerfully focused on our own work. Mm-hmm. We're not. See, again, it's a demographic question. Although at this point it's superhero and anime. There's these people who think that it's all about who you learn from and who you associated with and who influenced you. And it's like, not the weirdos. We do our own thing. And Roberta and we don't get flack for it.
Mm-hmm.
Alan Moore does, which is weird because that's 2 women not getting flack for doing whatever the hell they want. Although Roberta, she once did a cartoon, so funny, that really got flack, and I still admire the heck out of her for it. But Alan gets the flack, but I guess that's because men are expected to write superheroes or something. Like girls now are doing anime and falling into the same trap. Although some of them are going, I got to get out of this. Why am I doing this? Roberta's cartoon where she showed there's so much violence against women in comics that she showed this horrendous amount of violence in a one-pager on men, and they lost. Oh, it was a bear moment. They lost it like the bear. Let me tell you.
I love it.
It was. And she was brutally hilarious. Roberta Gregory, sweet little, butter wouldn't melt in her mouth. Draws like me, yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic. Next section is distribution. Tell us how you traded or sold your comics.
Well, I sold them for a long time through Diamond, but then Diamond, took over the industry, and there was one distributor. The name began with C. I can't remember the name of the distributor because when they went, what they did was they got big orders from everybody, and then they went bankrupt.
Hmm.
Assholes. That'll get edited out. But it all, after a while, it was like, oh, and then print on demand came along, and I just went print on demand.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
And besides, and I'm sorry, I'm on Amazon because that's where I put them, and I am not going to reprocess these files.
Yeah,
Go to donnabarr.com, find all the links, find out how to contact me, find everything you want. It's right there. Everything in the world you need to know about me is donnabarr.com.
Mm-hmm. Tell us about the first show or con situation where there were other. Oh, no, I apologize. Wrong question. Tell us about some other comics that you remember fondly.
Well, I like Sasha's Donna Kennedy's work. Oh God, there's a lot of gay comics I love simply because, especially there's the German gay comics. Prism had a lot of stuff there. They just seem more real.
Yeah.
More real, more fun. And the odd thing about it, if you were to show and a kid's got lost, they always ended up at the gay table. Large protective men that wouldn't hurt them,
Yeah, safe.
Safe. Yeah, the gay table was safe. That's where they would automatically end up at. We'd find ourselves with kids there.
Yeah.
Of course, I'm gender free, child free, God free.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Did you ever feel connected to a particular store or venue that supported you or the community?
Well, actually, right now, Anime Cat in Port Angeles, and Fantagraphics, and Million Year Picnic. There's a whole bunch of comic stores. I wish I could name them all. I wish I could remember them all, but I haven't traveled in a lot of years. I'm getting older, and I'm really out here in the distance. And of course, now I got all these electronics, and I'm always available for anybody to get a hold of for free comics day or anything. Send you free comic books, I'll do it. For your store.
Let's see. Were you ever part of any kind of distribution collective like Puppy Toss, or did you submit to small distributors like Phantom House or Spit in Half?
No, I didn't. I didn't get around to a lot of stuff. There's so much going on, and so you've got the bigger ones, the smaller ones, the local ones. Like I say, and also Kablam. I'm now using Kablam for what we used to call floppies.
Mm-hmm.
Because they will sell a floppy comic for, including retail price, for like $1 over 80s costs.
Mm-hmm.
It's the Indie Planet site.
Yeah.
So people, and I managed to process and put those all up there, and oh my goodness, but their quality is good.
Nice.
Amazing.
Nice. If you were involved in distribution, how did you find and choose what to distribute?
What to distribute?
If you were involved in distribution, they want to know how you found and chose what to distribute.
Oh, I wasn't. You mean if I was in a company?
I mean, if you were involved in getting the comics out to shops and conventions, but it sounds like it might have been somebody else that was doing that on your end.
Yeah. I mean, if it was distribution, they were doing it.
Okay. All right. Here's the wrap up. What do you miss about that time?
Oh, I don't know. Well, I don't miss the airplanes, I'll tell you that much. Flying was rough. I kind of miss the travel, all the conventions all over the place. I like the old black and white world. I did a lot of zines, and most of the dummies and final copies that remain are at San Diego. Mm-hmm. All this stuff is at San Diego. And I wish there was something going on for a while in the 80s and early 90s, which was Bar Wars. And it was writers having their characters knock on each other back and forth in the mail. And this ended up with, 20 people sending art back and forth. I don't know how many pictures people did. They were rude, hilarious. And Chris Dunn, who was a fan reader, he put together Barb Wars zines, and there's some of that left. I don't know what happened to most of it.
Okay.
If you go to San Diego, like in the Barb Roush folder, it's a little pink folder. They've got the ones that she did. They don't have mine from her end because that disappeared.
Mhm.
But her stuff, she was going to do this adorable gay pirate series, and she was the penciler for the Barbie comics. It would have been amazing,
Oh
and
man.
they were so cute and so naughty, and but you can see that end of it there. So yeah, I mean, I kind of miss all the more primitive ways of doing things, but then you get to now, and you start seeing people watch movies where they're going, no CGI.
Mm.
This is how we did this analog, and you've got all these prop people are telling you how they're faking being inside a train. And so now, rather than saying, oh, look, all the fancy CGI, it's like anybody can press buttons. It's already happened in the film industry as far as AI goes. It's like, that's not real, and
Mhm.
it's theft. I mean, at least in the movie industry it wasn't theft.
Yeah.
You were actually using your own work. But with AI now, people are looking at that and going, well, I mean, okay, let's say you're a magazine. Let's say, like, if you're one of these little, lazy people who punches buttons and steals somebody else's art, I really don't care if you were doing that, if it was stock images or something, but
Mhm.
they're not. It was trained on theft, and therefore it steals. It breaks copyright, and they may not get in trouble. But if you're talking to somebody with deep pockets, you're
Oh
talking
yeah.
to a magazine or a movie or anybody else with deep pockets, Interpol and the FBI are coming after you. And I think we've all read that copyright warning.
Hmm.
But what's happening right now is nobody's valuing that stuff.
Yeah.
They just don't value it. More and more of these people want to get paid, and they hire. It's like animation studios hire these people once and say, "Get the fuck out of here. You don't know what you're doing.
Hmm.
You don't know how to draw. You don't know how to do this stuff. You cannot finish the project. You're nothing but a thief. Go." And so the whole thing about AI is I don't bother with it because I'm faster.
What
I'm
do
just
you
him. I've done
what do
millions of things.
you what
Yeah,
do
yeah,
you what do you not miss about back in the day?
yeah. Well, like I say, the plane flights. I don't miss that. That was and the travel. That was rough. Although
Yeah.
it got to be a bit of a Oregon Trail challenge right down to the diarrhea. We played the original Oregon Trail. Let me tell you.
We all died of
Some of the things
dysentery.
that happened. Signing tours were a blast. I really can't say anything I missed. Or anything I hated. I didn't hate anything. I mean, I got through it.
Yeah.
I often didn't have the same kind of problems that other people do. Okay, I've got this reputation as a monster.
Hmm.
I'll take your face off if you give me a hard time. And I'll just blow up all of a sudden. And I've had people at conventions when they've had somebody giving people trouble at their tables, um, send them over to my table, and I blow up, and they're all going like, and I'm get away from me.
Yeah.
And one mother brought her kid in around on Sunday at San Diego. I haven't been in a decade. It was just I had other options. She brought her kid in on Sunday, and she says, "My boy wants to be in comics. What's the best thing I can do for him?" And before I could stop myself, I said, "Cut off his hands."
Oh.
And they both went, and then they started laughing because I said, "It's the end of Sunday. Okay, we're out of our minds at this point." He
No
thought it
filter
was
left.
funny.
No filter.
No, we're just tired at this point. Also, at one point, I don't know, at the other end of San Diego, I got into something with somebody, had to fix some problem at the top of my lungs as usual.
Oof.
And I came tromping back to the little table island over in Artist Alley, and Evan Dorkin, milk and cheese is sitting down there. And I kind of knew Evan a little bit, not a whole bunch, but he was a good guy. I liked his work.
I got a
And
fondness for milk and cheese.
huh?
I get a fondness for Evan Dorkin and milk and
Milk and cheese is wonderful.
oh,
I like his Twitter and everything else. And so anyway, he's sitting down there working organized stuff, and I come tromping back and going, and he turned around like this and went, "Somebody screwed with Donna Barr," and I went, "That's the other part of being the legend. I'll take your face off. I'm like that character, and I'm like Wolf Cop. I'll take your face off. Get away from me."
my God. Tell us one more memory. Smother us with anecdotes.
Oh, well, if you so I have no idea what that is, and I'm not going to answer it. It's probably the VA. That is the VA trying to get through to me. I'm not going to bother with it right now. Just let the darn thing ring and ignore it. They're out of their minds. An anecdote. I have so many of them. They're so weird. Let me just tell you the iguana story. And hang on a second. I don't know why everybody decides to call the middle of, I don't know what that was. Or maybe that was an alarm. I have no idea what that was. I'll get it later. It's a machine. We can let it sit. It's not going to die.
Exactly.
Anyway, the Peach Pits. The Peach Pits were this weird group I had that would help. Before I published the Desert Peach as a comic book, we had the Peach Pits running around. And I don't remember how that worked out, but I must have been writing and drawing at tables and things and selling art. And then we put together the Peach Pits, or my friend did, and so there's just this crazy acting troupe based on my characters, and he was known. Everybody down there knows who he is. He had iguanas, and so he had like this 4-foot iguana, and he brought that iguana to one of our San Diego masquerade routines, and we were known for being off the deep end. For just going, we kidnapped an MC at one point. Jim picked up the MC, threw him over his shoulders, and ran. Although he knew it was coming, so it looked like chaos. But we had the iguana, and iguanas are cold-blooded. And iguana sitting on the stage, and iguana just sitting there. So we're acting in front of, behind the iguana, and of course stages are hot. And the iguana warmed up, and the iguana took off. And so we had a wild iguana chase, over the stage and down through the audience and everything else. And that was the end of that routine. And somebody yelled, "Give an award to the little man in the iguana suit." And he's the only one from our troupe who got an award. And if you go in now to the San Diego pages and you look up what is not allowed, the first thing under pets is iguanas.
That's fantastic.
We banned iguanas in San Diego. But then Jim would bring the little ones, put Hawaiian shirts on them, big sunglasses, set them on the table. They were perfectly happy. They didn't move, and people thought they were just bauble dolls.
That's spectacular.
I know some weird people.
Last question. Tell us 3 people we should contact for these archives.
Okay, San Diego State University Special Collections, and it's Pamela Jackson. She's the pop culture librarian. That is her title, and she made it up. She does a fabulous job. And of course, Billy Ireland. And oh Lord, I'm trying to think of somebody else that you would need a collection for. I know the people that were doing the interview for what is it? Cartoon Museum in San Diego. I think it's another one.
Okay.
Yeah, but there's a bunch of them out there. There's people who collect comics, but I really go for the San Diego pop culture because they've got Star Wars stuff and they got, props and everything else because they're going for everything. And the money, the collections help them raise more money. And I have been told that the collection of my stuff alone is worth $250,000 in fundraising.
Wow.
I mean, they're not going to sell it. They're going to say, "Look what we got." Mm-hmm. So it helps bring in stuff. So it, and also free storage.
Ooh, that's a sweet deal.
Away from my practically front yard tsunami zone. Although we're not going to have a tsunami. What's going to ever happen up here is when the plate drops, we're all dead.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. We found that out, and we absolutely stopped going to the emergency preparedness meetings because it ain't going to help.
Oh yeah.
Put the horror horn someplace else. It'll just drown here.
Is there anything else you want to add? We're done with the questions at this point.
Oh Lord, if you get me started, you can have hours of stupid convention stories. Just griping about materials, dealing with things. but basically, really, I don't have a lot of gripes about being in the comics industry or having anything to do with comics. They're kind of like wonderful,
Oh yeah.
people used to hate them because you could write or you could draw and they couldn't do both, and we told them yes you can, all you have to do is practice.
Mm-hmm.
And we teach people all the time about how to do it. It's not that hard. Sit down and draw and write. Come on, people.
Mm-hmm.
And supportive. I can only think of another group of people that are nicer than comic book people. Supportive, wonderful, got each other's backs. Animation.
Ooh, okay.
You will never meet a bad animator. Those are nice people.
Nice. Nice.
They really, truly are.
Yeah. You feel like I think we covered everything. I got all the questions.
Yeah.
So, do you feel like there's anything missing? Do you feel like anything else that you want to say?
Well, I mean, like I said, I could sit here and talk for hours on this stuff and people.
True.
But on the other hand, like had happened in my interview, my throat is starting to go, starting to wear out. And so this is probably a good place to stop.
Yep.
And my email contact is right there on my website.
Mm-hmm.
And people can contact me and ask me questions. And I talk to anybody on Facebook. If they're nasty, I just block them.
Okay. Where's your next appearance?
I'm going to be at Fantagraphics July the 13th for the barbecue and mini-con.
Awesome. I think we're good to go.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for running this interview. And anybody who needs an interview run, you want to talk to this lady. She's good at them.
Thank you.
And I've done a lot of interviews.
Go get some water for your throat, honey.
Yay.
Pleasure talking to you as always.
Yes. Wonderful. We should just do this for the hell of it.
Oh, yeah, right?
It'd be a hoot. Thank you. I'm so glad you helped me with this. Let's just get it done and then we'll figure it out.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
All right.
Bye-bye.